Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball on SNY. It's brought to you by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. By Cadillac. And by Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. Mets finish up their series in downtown Miami. They'll be sailing away back home when this game is over after finishing up their series at Marlins Park. Last night, Michael Morse proved to be the hero for Miami. He drove in the game-winning run as the Mets try and capture the rubber game tonight. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Marlins Park. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez joins me in just a moment as the Mets play the rubber game of their series against Miami. The series started on Monday night with a terrific pitcher's duel. Dylan G, who's spot in the rotation, some thought might be in jeopardy, pitched as well as he has all season. In fact, he got through 7 innings of shutout ball, throwing just 59 pitches. Jared Cozart, though, was just as good, and the game stayed scoreless into the bottom of the 8th. Some great defense on the part of the Marlins catcher, JT Realmuto. The Marlins took a lead in the 8th, but Daniel Murphy turned that around with his second home run of the year, a 3-run shot on Steve Cishek, denying Cishek the save and giving the Mets the lead, but Murphy was not done yet. In support of J. Reese Familia at the bottom of the 9th, he made this spectacular defensive play to help nail it down, giving Familia his 9th save of the month of April, the most any Met reliever has ever had. Last night, good pitching as well. Rafael Montero called up to make the spot start for the Mets. He was perfect for the first 3 innings and held the Marlins scoreless for the first 5. But they broke through against him in the 6th, went ahead 3-0, but Juan Lagares undid that. A 410-foot 3-run double tied up the game in the top of the 7th inning and stayed tied into the bottom of the 8th. Carlos Torres walked a pair, and then Morse with the go-ahead hit, driving home Martin Prado to put the Marlins up 4-3. This time, Cishek was able to nail it down for Miami. He got the save, and Miami won it 4-3. So today, the rubber game of this 3-game series. The Mets are now 5-1 against Miami this year. One of those wins belongs to Bartolo Colon, who has won every start he's made so far this year, trying to make it 5 wins and 5 starts. As you look at the People's United Bank starting pitchers tonight, it's gone the other way for Matt Latos, although he's pitched better lately. He had a strong outing his last time out, trying to build on that and bid for his first victory of the year. When we come back to Miami, Steve Gelb standing by with Mets third baseman of the moment, Eric Campbell. Rubber game of their 3-game series. Mets took the opening game. Miami won last night. Moments ago, Steve Gelbs caught up with Mets third baseman Eric Campbell. Business of Baseball brought to you by Visk.
Okay, Eric, let's start back when you got called up again this year. You're obviously coming to play every day to fill in for David Wright. How do you approach that beginning there and try not to put too much pressure on yourself to not just stick but to replace a guy like David Wright?
To be honest, it's a little easier. It was a little easier this year than last year. Last year I came in as a bench guy, just filling in when lefties were on the mound. This year I was already playing every day in Vegas, so I had a good routine going, and I just kept that going when I got up here.
Playing every day, not just in Vegas, but now playing every day at the major league level for a couple of weeks. Do you have a good sense now of what you need to do to be successful and what maybe you struggle with because you've been playing every day? And if so, what are the two?
Well, I mean, the major leagues is really no different than Vegas. It's, the biggest thing is developing a routine. So when you get to the ballpark every day, whether it's a good day or bad day, the day before, you have something to go back to, a solid foundation. And, really, that's the only difference between Vegas and here.
What is it like playing third base when Giancarlo stands up at the plate?
It's not the best feeling in the world. Me and David talk about it a lot, especially when the infield's in, like yesterday with Gordon on third. A quick runner, you got to be a little closer to home plate, which is no fun.
Well, when the infield's in, you were not fully in. It was a really unique setup that you guys had going there. That's just strictly for Stanton, or is that something that you guys would use for other people in this Marlins lineup as well?
Well, the ball gets on you so quick with Stanton that I don't think you need to be, even with the base. You can move back a little bit and you still have time to get the runner at home. So, yeah, Stanton, maybe a couple other hitters in the league, but that's about it.
You mentioned having a routine, and that's really the same thing you want to keep from Vegas and at the major league level. Have you thought about when David comes back and how your routine is going to maybe alter once he does come back?
Yeah, I'll go back, I'm guessing, I haven't been told anything, probably to what I was doing a lot of last year, and that's playing, left and right and first, and, when somebody needs a blow, I'll fill in for them. And, that's really my role. That's what my role is going to be. So, I learned a lot from it last year, and I think I'll be better at it this year.
Eric, thanks a lot. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, Eric's certainly done a terrific job filling in for David Wright. He'll probably get another week to 10 days before David's ready to return. Bartolo Colon ready to face Matt Lato's first pitch coming up from Miami.
I was here. They banished me. Go ahead.
He was in wardrobe and makeup, if you really want to know the inside scoop.
I'm heavy on the rouge.
Let's check out the Mets starting lineup tonight as they take on Matt Latos and the Marlins. Kadire got a day off yesterday. So did Flores. So did Plawecki. They're all back in there tonight for the rubber game of this series. Mets still with the short bench. They sent Rafael Montero down, called up a reliever, Jack Leathersich. We'll get into that a little later. And there's Latos still looking for his first win.
And there's Matt Latos' numbers, brought to you by Toyota. 14. I'm sorry, Garrett.
First pitch to Curtis Granderson is in for a strike, and we're underway. You were saying?
That's a 14-game winner. Latos fought 3 times in his career. 7th year in the big leagues. Off to a very rocky start.
He got knocked out in the first inning of his first start. He's been getting a little better since then, but without a whole lot of success. Granderson gets tied up, but it missed inside, 1-1.
Over the top pitcher, over the top curveball, 12-6 curve, changeup. And that one right there, he threw at 93 miles an hour. His fastball isn't what it used to be, but still 93 is plenty.
He's averaged 90.7 with his fastball. And Garrett, Granderson, it's a bolt, but right at Echeverria for the first down.
Well, all of a sudden, Curtis is starting to swing the bat terrific. Just a little bit of hard luck right there coming into the game. Now he's over the interstate hitting 229.
Talk about the defense playing him perfectly. Remember, the Yankees were putting on that full shift with the shortstop on the right side of the bag. There, the Marlins had him played just right. So here's Lagares, who's really been swinging the bat well. A 410-foot double last night. Second time in the series he's gotten one over the center fielder's head.
They've been pounding him in, Gary, in this series, and they did in Yankee Stadium also. And he's got the barrel out. That triple he hit with the bases loaded was a bolt.
And Latos quickly ahead of him 0-2. The Mets faced Latos 11 days ago in New York. He lasted 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 6 hits, took a loss. Travis d'Arnaud homered against him in that game. Lucas Duda waits on deck. Latos last year limited to 16 starts with the Reds. He had knee surgery, he had elbow problems, pitched well when he was available, but had his year curtailed and then got traded in the offseason for a younger pitcher, Anthony DeSclafani, who's gotten off to a terrific start with Cincinnati.
He's always been a temperamental type guy. He's kind of mellowed out a little bit.
1-2 to Lagares, and the breaking ball got him. Real Muto with the toss on the ball in the dirt, and that's the second out.
And we'll take a quick look at the Marlin defense, always brought to you by Coors Light. Not the Marlin defense, the opposing defense. Ichiro Suzuki in left field. Great outfield out there. 3 strong arms. And we've talked about the whole series about the middle infielders. Gordon, Echeverria are fantastic. And Real Muto, we know that is now the starting catcher, the youngster they really think highly of.
Here's Lucas Duda, 1 for 6 in the series. And he drives one up the middle, a base hit.
That is around the last 3 or 4 games. How often have we seen that from Lucas? First at bat, not wasting any time, getting a fastball, jumping on it.
He did that in last night's game, drove one to left center. Here hitting one right past the rear of Matt Latos, and the Mets have their first base runner. Now Michael Kadire, who had most of the night off last night, appeared as a pinch hitter in the 8th inning and grounded out. It's been a struggle for Kadire, just 2 hits in his last 28 at bats. And he takes ball 1. Mets fans trying to make some noise. Nice to hear noise in a ballpark after watching that Orioles White Sox game this afternoon.
My goodness.
What a strange event that was.
Did you watch the whole game?
I watched large chunks of it, and it was eerie to have nobody in the ballpark. I mean, you could hear the bat crack, you could hear the glove pop.
So they didn't have any music, anything, right?
Well, they played the national anthem. They played John Denver during the 7th inning stretch like they normally do, and the Orioles scored 6 runs in the first inning off Jeff Samardzija. Fans were outside the gates, but not inside the gates. And it was odd to watch. It really was. Of course, necessitated by circumstances having nothing to do with baseball. And the Orioles will play on the road this weekend at Tampa Bay. Cuddyer hits one to deep left field. Back goes Ichiro to the warning track. Back near the wall. It's out of here. Michael Cuddyer with his second home run of the year. A long 2-run homer. And the Mets jump in front 2-0 in the opening inning. Well, Cuddyer back refreshed after just his second non-starting game of the year. And he hits a bomb against Leto.
Well, coming into the game hitting .233. A little bit of a struggle for him of late. Too good a hitter to keep him down for long. And he gets a hanging, breaking ball here, Gary. And he hit it off the back wall. Just below the 427 sign. And I'll get a smile on your face.
Cuddyer hit a lot of home runs in spring training, but the power had been missing early this season. We just saw it. Here's Daniel Murphy, and he slaps one foul.
Ball's crushed. Hanger. Oh boy, sitting on a tee. And look at Ichiro. Watch where it hits. That's off the back wall. Crushed.
So Cuddyer's second home run gives the Mets an early boost. And after a couple of nights where nobody could score early in games, the Mets jump on Lato's early. 2 out hit by Duda, and Cuddyer cashes it in. Now Murphy, who all of a sudden has found his stroke, last 3 games 6 for 11 with 4 extra base hits, including that game-winning home run on Monday night.
We discovered left center field again. There you go.
It's one to shallow left, and Ichiro will come in to get it, and that retires the side. But the Mets jump out quickly on Cuddier's second home run of the year. Michael Cuddyer, fresh from a day off, hanging breaking ball, 2-run bomb, well over 400 feet. And he stakes the Mets to a 2-0 lead. Goes with the same starting 8 all 3 games in this series against Bartolo Colon tonight, and D. Gordon, the hottest hitter in the National League, takes high for ball 1.
Going for number 5, Bartolo. What a start, the best start of his career. And that's brought to you his numbers by Jeep.
Well, Gordon's numbers are pretty special right now. Leads the National League with 36 hits. The Marlins record for April is 40 hits. Mike Lowell did that. This is the Marlins' last game in April, so he'd have to have 4 tonight, and he's already got 1. A grounder to deep short, and Gordon is aboard to start the bottom of the first.
And he came into the game hitting 400 with 90 at bats. That is a terrific start of a season, obviously hitting 400, and he's been doing it because of that, hitting the ball the opposite field.
Well, he's got 37 hits, already 11 infield hits, and with his speed, that's not shocking. So now a leadoff base runner for the Marlins as they try and strike right back. Here's Martin Prado, who scored the winning run in the 8th inning last night. 1 for 6 in this series.
It's interesting that he hasn't, Gordon that is, hasn't tried to steal a base in this series. Got him.
And he almost got picked off. Good move by Colon. Nearly got him.
Good snap move. Yeah, he just got back. That's when you need the left-handed.
Yeah, the lefty really has an advantage.
He does. He seriously does. No question. That right hand gets there quicker.
Gordon has 8 steals this year, but he's also been caught 6 times. Not a good percentage. Last year led the league in stolen bases with 64, but got caught 19 times last year. That's not great either. And Colon takes something off and gets a strike. Nothing in 1.
Well, remember, this is a predominantly right-hand hitting lineup, particularly with the left fielder on the disabled list. Yelich, of course. And remember what G did to them with that sinker, sinking change, sinking fastball. Colon has a sinker also and a sinking change. Let's see if he works the right-hand hitters the same way as G did very successfully with all those ground balls.
G had 15 ground ball outs in 7 2/3. Colon tried to go to 5-0 through his first 5 starts. He's never done that. In fact, the Mets have 2 pitchers who've won their first 4 starts this year, Colon and Harvey. And that just misses away, 1-1. The Mets have never had 2 pitchers in the same season win their first 4 starts, but now they have. Colon is always tough to run against. He's got a great sense of how to control the running game. He misses outside the Prado, 2-1. Giancarlo Stanton looming on deck. Miami has turned things around after a 3-11 start. They've won 6 of their last 7. Could be 2 if they hurry. Flores to Murphy, and the turn offline as Gordon seemed to upset Murphy's throw, and the Mets settle for just the 1 out.
Well, it's a perfect double play ball right here, ground ball, and it's not turned. It's just you got to turn double plays when you get a ground ball. Murphy was not in a real position to throw with any kind of mustard on it. I wonder sometimes, you know, Murph got his knee banged up turning that double play twice, and I just wonder sometimes when they really bear down on him close, he's not thinking about it.
Here's Stanton, who's 2 for 8 in the series, including an RBI hit last night. Stanton with 5 home runs, tied for second in the league with 18 RBIs. And he's done well against Colon, 3 for 5 with a home run. And he cracks one to deep left. Forget it. That is way out of here. Stanton hits one well over 400 feet to tie up the game. His 6th home run of the year, a 2-run shot. And we're even at 2. When he gets one in his wheelhouse, he has just got awesome power.
Well, in his wheelhouse is belt high and up. I feel like a broken record, but look what his ball is. It's around belt high. And when he connects, there really is never a doubt, is there?
Well, Colon's now given up 4 home runs this year, 2 of them to Stanton. And so that negates Kadyr's home run. 1 out and nobody on. Now Marcell Ozuna, and he takes the pitch high.
Makes you wonder with 2 well-pitched ball games that this one's going to be a wild and woolly.
Well, Colon has been so impeccable this year. But you know, with Colon, we saw it last year, there are certain days when his location's a little off. He can give up some home runs.
I just think with that fastball he threw that was crushed by Stanton, I think he wanted to get a sinker there, and it didn't sink. It just stayed straight.
Well, Stanton is not the most feared power hitter in the league for no reason.
You've got that ground ball that should have been the double play ball. It'll be a 2-1 ball game. That's the concern for me on the infield defense. It's 162 games.
Ozuna slashes one. That's a fair ball going down toward the corner. Granderson digs it out, and Ozuna pulls in with an opposite field double. With Carapazza, the first base umpire, right on top of it. Very close, but a fair ball.
So the Mets have handled Ozuna both series, is home and away. Look how he stays level. It's an inside out, right down the line. He's got to get going. Well, here's the bomb. Watch it stay straight. He tries to throw a sinker. There's no movement. So he's throwing it on the inner half of the plate, Gary, hoping to get it to sink down and in. And when it stays straight, it stays on the inner half of the plate, right into the wheelhouse, and stays up.
So Cologne's faced 4 batters, giving up 3 hits. Now Michael Morris, who had the game-winning hit last night in the 8th inning, and Cologne just off right now, missing outside with that fastball.
He's missing up and away when he's trying to go away to right-handers.
Morris 2 for 8 in this series, hitting at .224.
Game winner last night.
Ozuna at second and 1 out. And the slider hit out to center. And Lagares right there. Tagging at second is Ozuna. And he moves over to third. 2 out.
We'll get a quick look at your Metsies on the field today. Brought to you by Lexus. Kadire back in the lineup. 2-run shot. Rest did him tremendous wonders. Infield remains the same. Campbell at third base. Probably plays the deepest third base I've ever seen, folks. Particularly when Mike Stanton's up. Pilecki back in the lineup behind the plate. And you can see right now with Campbell at third base how deep he plays. He consistently plays deep, and I got to believe it's to increase his range.
JT Realmuto takes a fastball for a strike. So Cologne just trying to survive this first inning with the score tied and hoping he can find himself from there. Realmuto 1 for 8 in the series. The first real hiccup that Bart has had. And there's a strike. 1-0.
Well, you know one thing, he's unruffled, unflappable would be a better word. And he's in mind right now figuring out what can I do to right the ship. He is a thinker out there.
Ahead of the count on the rookie catcher Realmuto, and he goes up and away.
He's up with his pitches early.
Cologne will turn 42 next month. Ichiro Suzuki 41. Oldest starting pitcher in the game, oldest position player in the game. One-two on the way, and Realmuto bounces one for Flores. Takes his time and almost lost him. Realmuto can get down the line, but he throws him out to end the inning. But Giancarlo Stanton with one mighty swing equals Michael Kadire's 2-run homer, and that sends us off to the second inning, tied at 2. Eric Campbell leads off the second inning, takes a strike from Matt Latos. Campbell starting for the 14th straight game. David Wright's in Port St. Lucie, doing a little straight ahead running, a little swing into the bat, but he is not close to being ready to come back. Best guess you'd have to say right now is that he will not, David, be ready to play at all on this coming homestand.
Well, didn't they say that at 70% running he has no pain, and then he has to put a little extra on and gets a little it grabs.
Yeah, so he's still working it out. You know.
So there's no rush.
Yep.
You got a team that's 15-6 on top of the heap in the East, and even if it wasn't, you can't rush it back. It's a little too much season left.
Well, that's John Ricco, the Mets assistant GM, is here with the team in Miami, and he said, look, it's early in the season. We are going to be conservative with this. We want David here for the long term this year. We don't want this to be a chronic problem. So they'll take their time, especially with the team playing well. Full count to Campbell leading off in the second. Flores and Plawecki to follow. Latos retired the first two in the opening inning. They then gave up a single on a home run. And Campbell pulls one foul down past Tim Tuffle.
The ball boy down the left field line's made all the plays this series.
Always applaud the ball boys. Again, the 3-2. And the splitter in the dirt for ball 4. So Campbell draws a leadoff walk. Who are the 4 players that best represent the history of the Mets, and who are the 4 greatest Major League Baseball players? Go to MLB.com/franchise4 to cast your ballots. Winners will be revealed during the All-Star Game July 14th. So the Mets have the leadoff man on in the second. Now Wilmer Flores, who got most of the night off last night.
Wilmer at 270, leading the team in home runs with 3.
Mets have only hit 15 home runs as a team, which actually, surprisingly, is more than the Marlins. The Marlins, even with the one Stanton hit tonight, have a dozen. Stanton has half of them.
They have a bigger park here.
But you'd figure with the one big bopper, they have more, but that's not been the case, at least not yet. There goes Campbell, and Flores fouls it off. Mets playing hit and run.
I love it. I love it.
Here's your Verizon trivia question for tonight. Which player has the most at-bats against Bartolo Colon during his 18-year career?
It's got to be an American leaguer, obviously. State the obvious.
If you were with us in the first inning, you might already know the answer.
Where do you think I was? Do you think I was falling asleep at the switch?
No, not you. I wasn't talking about you specifically. I was talking about the greater you.
I'm very much into this game.
There are several 100,000 people who might be listening to us speak right now. Good cut by Flores, and he fouls it back. Was that a subliminal message that Bill Webb just showed us?
Yes, he likes to do that. He's Karnak. I guess a lot of our audience wouldn't know who Karnak was.
I think he's more like Uri Geller, bending spoons. Matt Latos feels like he's been around a long time, but he's only 27 years old. Already has 60 major league wins. Coming back home, coming here to Florida. He went to Coconut Creek High School, Broward County Community College. And the curveball stays high, 1-2. The Marlins figured that coming into the season, starting pitching was going to be a strength for them, even with Jose Fernandez out for the first half of the year. But Henderson Alvarez got hurt, and the rest of the rotation faltered early on. Now, just in the last week, their starting pitching has begun to do better. And Latos part of that. Past the mound, but right at the bag is Echeverria. The flip to Gordon, and they get the force play. Wow. Echeverria, when he first went after that ball, I think thought he'd be able to get to the bag himself, but he couldn't. So he made the adjustment and somehow flipped it to Gordon, who got it with his bare hand.
What a beautiful play, and almost turned 2. Look at this. Oh my word, what a wonderful attempt to turn. I tell you what, this middle infield here is really, really phenomenal.
Well, quite an adjustment by Echeverria, and what a grab by Gordon with that bare hand. So Flores at first and 1 out. Here's Kevin Plawecki, and he tries to check the swing on the slider, and looking to cross up there as Real Muto takes it back out to Latos. Well, we are fortunate watching the National League East on a regular basis to see 2 of the more spectacular shortstops in Major League Baseball right now.
Well, the platinum shortstop, a platinum player, is Andrelton Simmons with Atlanta. The shortstop was spectacular. Echeverria, who we just showed his wares. We've also got Tulowitzki in Colorado. He can't stay healthy. Got the powerful arm. Crawford, you like in San Francisco here.
Very steady. Also a terrific arm.
And then there's the hitting shortstop in Washington, who's got 9 errors.
Well, should be better than that, Ian Desmond. We'll see him tomorrow night. Plawecki slashes one foul. You've got a former Gold Glover with the Dodgers, Jimmy Rollins. I know he's not what he once was.
He's still pretty good with the glove. You never lose the hands. You lose, Gary, you lose the range.
And I think the Cubs are an interesting situation because, you know, they've got a lot of shortstop talent. Castro plays there now. Addison Russell may play there someday. Javier Baez, maybe. They're all extremely athletically talented. I don't know who is the best defensive shortstop among them.
No, the Cubs are they're starting to come around. I mean, I don't know if they got enough this year, but certainly they are an improved ball club.
12-7 after they beat the Pirates last night. 2-2 to Plawecki. And the splitter misses. Full count.
A lot of full counts. Having a hard time getting over his secondary pitches, and he's yapping to himself. He's always been a tempestuous athlete, Latos.
Sometimes his antagonized umpires, sometimes teammates, and that his reputation has followed him from San Diego to Cincinnati to here. We'll see if Flores runs 3-2, 1 out. Not going, and Plawecki hits it in the air to center, playable for Ozuna. And that's the second out.
Well, you don't want to run there, strike him out, throw him out. Plawecki's been struggling a little bit. Got the pitcher up next. You want to clear the order, top of the order next inning.
Don't discount Cologne. One of the most exciting sequences in any game the Mets play every 5 days is a Cologne at bat.
And you know something? He works on it, too.
He's a better hitter now than he was last year.
Much better bunter.
He's hit some line drives. He's got a hit. He's got 2 RBIs already. Takes a fastball for a strike. And don't think that opposing pitchers don't recognize that.
It gets around quick. You know, Harvey came up and got all those base hits. The word gets around, hey, this guy swings the bat. They start pitching him tougher.
It's a pretty good cut by Cologne. Well, the Mets pitchers as a group are doing much better with the bat than at the start of last year. Just the addition of Jacob deGrom certainly enhances that. DeGrom goes tomorrow night. He flew ahead of the team to get home. Mets will get home very late. Here's strike 3 called, and Cologne is caught looking to end the inning. Second strikeout for Latos. Middle of the second, tied at 2. At DraftKings, play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry and claim your share of $300 million this MLB season. A little stormy out on the waters the last few days here in South Florida.
Oh, that's right. You old timer, you.
Catching up to you, Keith.
Well, hey, you got a ways to go. Remember, I'm the veteran in the booth.
And you always will. Veterans facing each other at the plate and on the mound. They're a pair of 41-year-olds. Ichiro Suzuki takes outside. 90 career at-bats for Ichiro against Bartolo Colon.
Of course.
Hitting 300 with 3 home runs against Colon, and he tries to bunt his way on and fouls it off. That leads us to our Verizon Trivia answer, which we'll show momentarily. You've been teased with that.
You're teasing the fans out there.
Sorry.
And we have a nice little audience out there. I agree, folks. This is a nice, fun team to watch play, the Metsies, so far in this season.
15-6. Best record in baseball starting the night. 2-2 from Colon, and Ichiro slaps one down to third, and Campbell gets rid of it on time. 1 out. Now we're going to show the answer to our Verizon Trivia question, as if we haven't done our good enough job giving it away. Player with the most at bats against Colon during his career, well, that is Mr. Suzuki. Now 91 at bats. That's a nice job by our crack staff updating that.
The most at bats I had off a pitcher in my career was around, I think, 140 plus, and it was off Steve Carlton.
140.
Wow. Well, he always pitched against us. He was in division.
But you don't see anybody these days with 100 bats.
We got 3 divisions.
But if you play a team in your own division, you should face a starting pitcher 5 or 6 times in a season.
Yes.
So why is it any different now than it was then? How come nobody has is that because starting pitchers don't work as many innings?
I think players move around a little more too. You know?
Echeverria takes outside. I think at the end of the day, it's because instead of pitchers going 8 or 9 innings, they're going 6 or 7 innings. So you get 3 at bats against a guy instead of 4 or 5.
Well, you know, Carlton would almost assuredly go 9.
Right. Echeverria fouls one off. Well, Danny Echeverria was last week's National League Player of the Week. Not this week. He's 0 for 5 so far. By the way, we were raving about some of the shortstops around the National League. The greatest shortstop in Marlins history is making some news. That would be the left fielder in Boston, Hanley Ramirez, who just hit his 10th home run of the year today. 10 home runs in April. That leads the major leagues.
Former batting champion. Remember when he won the batting title, came back the next year and had gotten a lot of bad habits with a long swing.
Well, so far he's enjoying Fenway Park, isn't he?
He's inspired.
By the way, he hit that home run tonight off R.A. Dickey.
Knuckleball.
Who has just hasn't been the same since he went up to Toronto.
Well, it's not a pitcher's park. It seems like it's a home run. It's like the Homer Dome, right? You could call it that.
Good turn at bat for Echeverria. Works the count full against Colon, who's gone 21 straight innings without walking a batter. He's only walked 1 batter this season.
So the Mets will play the Blue Jays a 4-game series, 2 at home, and then go right up to Toronto and play 2. That's in what, June or July?
I think it's in June. Let's go to Toronto and then Atlanta in that road trip. 3-2 from Colon, and Echeverria hits one right back through the originator and has himself a 1-out single. So an 8-pitch at bat for Echeverria, who has his first hit in this series.
Well, he gets his first hit of the series and a bullet up the middle.
So that sets up a bunting situation for Latos, who has 1 hit and 2 sacrifices so far this year.
Well, there's the defense. Obvious bunt. You're not going to see Campbell playing deep on this situation. It's an obvious bunt. never like pitchers giving it away that early, Gary. You know, if I was a pitcher, I would practice a stance as if to hit and work on squaring around as late as possible. And I'd work on it in between starts. Just giving it away, you know, like this. Come on.
Campbell right down his throat. He pushes it the other way to Duda. A nice bunt by Latos. 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Echeverria to second. 2 out. Well, they certainly have the perfect guy to teach bunting on this coaching staff for the Marlins. Brett Butler is their third base coach, and there have been few in the game the last few decades who bunted any better than Brett.
Played for the Giants, the Dodgers, the Braves.
Mets.
Yes, and I remember him mainly as a Brave when I competed against him. Good leadoff hitter, great bunter.
So runner in scoring position for Dee Gordon, who had an infield hit his first time up. 5 for 9 now in this series. Gordon got off to a great start with the Dodgers last year and made his first All-Star team. The Marlins are hoping that he can sustain that kind of success through a full season. Now, he's not going to hit 400 all year, which is what he was hitting starting the day, but if he can maintain his strength through a full season, the Marlins will have really gotten themselves something.
Good pitch. There's that ball that swings around, starts out and locks the hitter up, starts out inside and comes back over the corner. Watch the movement. Perfect.
Greg Maddux perfected the 2-seam fastball. Colon ahead in the count, 0-2 on Gordon. Laces one to center. Lagares, though, eases over to get it, and that retires the side. Gordon hit it hard. Well, Lagares there to catch everything. 2-2 after 2. Third inning, and we check in with Steve Gelb. Steve.
Well, Gary, Dee Gordon, he made out to end the last inning, and I know Mets fans don't want to see Dee Gordon get on base, but tonight maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing. Dee Gordon using this month to use his stolen base talents for a really good cause. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month, and he's teamed up with the Bleckman Foundation for Parkinson's Research to raise money for the research, for Parkinson's research. Every stolen base that he has in the month of April. People can go onto the website, pledge a certain amount of money, and they will then donate it based on his stolen bases to this foundation. The foundation actually focused on Dee Gordon because he led the major leagues in stolen bases last year. And Parkinson's disease, it's such a movement disorder, and obviously you need a lot of movement to steal bases, so it's also based down here in South Florida. They really like that Dee Gordon would partner with them. And speaking with Dee about it, he's really happy to use his talents for this way. He told me that he's going to steal the bases anyway, so he's happy it can help people, and especially now it maybe is even more prevalent in Major League Baseball because of the news coming down this week about Kirk Gibson. So one last game here in April for Dee Gordon to do some more good.
I know a lot of people were really blindsided with the news this week that Kirk Gibson is suffering from Parkinson's disease. Granderson drives one down the right field line. That's a fair ball going to the corner. Stanton over to dig it out. Granderson pulls it at second base with a leadoff double. So Granderson, who had a bullet his first time up that was caught, this time rips one down the line.
Continues to come around. Curtis starting to swing the bat much better. Got off to a horrible start. Can't keep a good man down. Picking up his third base coach.
Granderson's now reached safely in 10 straight games. His fourth double of the year. The Mets have the lead run in scoring position with nobody out. Lagares struck out his first time up on a pitch in the dirt. He's not been doing that much this season, at least not the last few weeks.
Well, this is a situation here defensively where you would want the shortstop to hold Granderson. I don't think Granderson's really a threat to steal. He's already in scoring position. And kind of play the second baseman in the hole. Take away that right side from Lagares, who goes that way so well and is going to be trying to go that way.
Curveball sits inside. A ball and a strike to Lagares with Lucas Duda on deck. 13 steals of third in his career and never caught. By the way, the Mets have not had a runner caught stealing yet this season. They've only got 10 steals in 21 games, but none caught.
Lato's having real trouble with his overhead curve.
20 inside on Lagares, and he yanks it foul. 1-2. I'm talking about Lagares chasing a pitch in the first inning. If he stays in the strike zone, then the fact that he's not walking a lot shouldn't make that much of a difference if he's swinging the bat the way he has.
He's got 2 walks on the season, Gary, and 1 was intentional. But I don't care. I want this young man swinging the bat.
As long as he's swinging at strikes.
Yeah, and that goes for everybody. I mean, it's baseball 101. If you have a good eye at the plate, you're going to get yourself in counts in your favor. You're going to get out of the box quickly because you're ahead in the count. Get pitches to hit. It's like what Stan Musial told Pujols about 2-strike inning. Knowledge of the strike zone. Don't swing at bad pitches.
One and two to Lagares with Duda on deck. And the curveball fouled off.
Boy, there's a one right down Broadway. But 2 strikes on you. You're going up the middle. You're protecting the plate. This is just a roller. It stayed in enough. If he got that ball out over the outer half, that's Rip City. Another nice 2-strike at bat for Lagares.
7th pitch of the at bat upcoming from Latos to Lagares. And he just got a piece of that slider to stay alive.
That's a better pitch for Latos. That slider. The curveball, he's just rolling it up there. And it's just coming in and saying, here, hit me.
Granderson a leadoff double. Lagares a long turn at bat, trying to at least get him over. Again, the 1-2. Fastball, and gets him over. Nicely done by Lagares. Gordon throws him out, but Granderson's at third with one away.
Well, They covered that right side of the infield. Lagares gets the job done. You see, he got excellent range, good quick movement. Gordon read that off the bat nicely.
The Marlins going to choose to play their infield back with the go-ahead run at third and 1 out. Still very early in the game.
Big shift. The old triangle.
So you do to 2 for 4, getting a runner in from third with less than 2 out. He had a base hit and scored his first time up tonight. Takes the fastball low and in. Third baseman Prado has to stay home, so the shortstop hole open for Duda. Good off-speed pitch by Latos, 1-1.
Oh, there's the best curveball he threw. The over-the-top curve. Got some snap on it. Can he do it back-to-back?
It's a pitch Latos has not been throwing a lot of early in the season. Only 4% curveballs through his first 4 starts of the year, but more tonight. Trying to get the feel for it. And Duda will get the run in. Gordon comes in to grab the grounder. Granderson scores, and the Mets have a 3-2 lead. So they get him over and get him in after the leadoff double. Duda's 12th RBI, and the Mets up by a run. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Michael Cuddyer, who opened the scoring tonight with a long home run. A 2-run shot to left, his second of the year. And his second home run in 12 career at bats against Matt Latos.
And there was no doubt on this one. This was crushed. Hanging breaking ball off the back wall.
So the Mets have taken their second lead of the night. Dyer's home run put them in front. Stanton hit a home run at the bottom of the first, a 2-run shot to tie it. And now the Mets have poked their nose in front again. A 1-run lead for the Mets. Wow. The well-decorated shin guard for Mr. Cuddyer.
Louis failed.
What was the word you just used?
Ugly.
Oh. I didn't know that one.
I hope it means that. That's what I heard most of my career from the Latin players that I played with.
Might have to look that one up.
Well, no, don't.
Might have been an Urban Dictionary problem.
Let's hope not. That's how I interpreted it, my 20 years in professional baseball.
Let's see. See, for most Anglo players, the Spanish they pick up in baseball is the Spanish you can't use on TV.
Well, yes, and I know quite a few, but I wouldn't dare. My roommate was Hector Cruz from Puerto Rico. Hector was one of the 3 Cruz brothers. Jose would play with Houston. Tommy Cirillo was his real name.
Cuddyer hits this one out to right, chasing Stanton back, and he gets it a step on the warning track to end the inning. But the Mets go in front. Granderson doubles and scores, and the Mets lead 3-2 in the third.
And Keith, whose handiwork is this?
I have a hunch that this is from the lovely Mrs. Lynn Cohen. The lovely Lynn Cohen.
You're doing the Cosell thing again. Yes. Thank you, darling. I'll be home late tonight. Thank you for the cake.
Oh,
complete with microphone.
Very nice microphone too. Old fashioned.
Old fashioned, right? That's
XO. Oh, you're in trouble.
That's a Graham McNamee microphone. Did you already try some of the cream frosting?
I got a little frosting.
Yeah, I thought you might. It's hard to resist sticking your fingers in the frosting. Martin Prado leading off the home third, and takes a slider off the plate from Colon and stopped the swing in time. 2-1. Prado hit into a fielder's choice and scored in front of Stanton's home run in the first inning. At least there weren't 57 candles on it.
No.
Might have created a fire scene. Prado hits to it deep to right center, but easing back Lagares, making it all look easy. 1 out. Piece of cake. Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh. Unintentional.
So here is Stanton, who crushed one of the seats in left field his first time up, his 6th home run of the year. Here it is.
Fastball stays straight. Belt high again, and a rocket launch. He's hit him further than that.
Oh yeah, he had one down the line last year that busted up that auxiliary scoreboard.
Yes,
took some lights out.
Yes,
well above where he hit the one tonight. But he hits them so hard.
Well, he's a strong guy.
His exit velocity is just awesome. That's hit hard. The Flores is there to snag the liner. 2 out. Giancarlo Stanton, of course, wearing that face shield after being hit by Mike Fiers last year. And this is the quote from Stanton. If he lets it bother him, he won't have success. Will you be scared or will you be successful?
Well,
I wonder about the actual wearing of the mask. We saw Jason Hayward wear one after he got hit by John Neese, and Stanton wearing the face guard this year. I wonder how much that affects you, just having that in front of your face.
Well, I think if it was bothering him, he would get rid of it. I mean, it would be a distraction for me because I would just talk myself into it.
I mean, he's taken it off for some at bats against lefties,
right,
but worn it against the right-handers.
Very serious look on his face during the game, very focused.
That's one of the scariest things that can happen in baseball. And we saw it go the other way last night. The Diamondbacks pitcher Archie Bradley getting hit by Carlos Gonzalez's line drive right in the face. Fortunately, he seems to be okay. But it's a horrible thing when a player in a sport where the baseball is so hard and goes at such extreme speeds gets hit. Fly ball out to right, and Granderson back onto the warning track to grab it. 3 out. But it's very hard to legislate those things out of the game. People don't want pitchers to hit anymore. They want to put pad caps on players, and that's great, but you're not going to prevent people from getting injured. Keith sneaking the icing. Oh, you're like a 12-year-old.
I'm a child.
4th inning in Miami, and Bartolo Colon getting together with Dan Worth in between innings to talk about the way things are going.
He's talking about his arm action. Yep, see, he's dropping his elbow. Now his first one was getting on top.
Daniel Murphy rips one into right field. He's got another base hit. Well, these last few days have been very encouraging for Murph after 3 weeks of struggle.
Well, I was never worried. And he's just starting to hit line drives, is he not? That's what he does.
That's what he does. So here's Campbell, who walked his first time up. Mets get the leadoff man on for the 3rd straight inning against Latos, who's had to pitch predominantly out of the stretch tonight. He's walked 1, struck out 2, given up 3 runs and 4 hits. And as the base runners pile up, his pace gets slower and slower.
This really, from a scheduling standpoint, Gare, should have been a day game. It just should have been a day game to get the Mets home at a decent hour.
Well, I will say this, at least they're not at a competitive disadvantage tomorrow night. There goes Murphy, and Campbell grounds one right to the bag. It's a fair ball, and out at first is Campbell as Murphy moves up to second. So second time tonight the Mets have played hit and run.
Well, I feel that Terry is getting to know his players better now. He tried to hit and run with Lagares. It was the second time this year. Campbell is a guy that handles the bat well, doesn't strike out. Only got 4 strikeouts on the season so far. And Latos is a pitcher that really doesn't have a pitch that he's not a swing and a miss type of pitcher anymore.
Right.
He gives you stuff to lay the bat on.
So a runner in scoring position for Flores, who hit a ground ball on which the Marlin middle infielders made a terrific play to get a force. I was going to say the Mets are not at a competitive disadvantage tomorrow night because the Nats are also playing a night game in Atlanta tonight. So both teams are going to get in very late for the start of that 4-game series tomorrow night.
They'll get in an hour earlier than the Mets.
I would assume that the Nats sent Strasburg ahead. He's pitching tomorrow night, as the Mets have sent DeGrom ahead. So they'll be the freshest guys in the ballpark. Little bloop, shallow right, but there is Stanton playing shallow. And that's the second out. There is city probables for tomorrow night. DeGrom and Strasburg. The Nats have confirmed that Max Scherzer, who got pushed back because of a little thumb problem, is going to pitch Friday night. So it's going to be Harvey and Strasburg Friday night.
That'll be rocking, and Strasburg has been struggling.
Then the 2 lefties go Saturday, Nice and Gio Gonzalez. Gio's had a rough go of it. And then Dylan G and Doug Fister on Sunday afternoon. Here's Plawecki, who flied out to center his first time up. Murphy at second and 2 out. And the curveball misses for ball 1. With Plawecki struggling right now, 0 for his last 9. No thought on the Marlins' part of walking the 8-hitter with first base open. Plawecki now 4 for 23 since his recall. How about that Nationals comeback last night?
Oh, wow. 9-1 they were down?
9-1, 10-2, and they come back and win 13-12 on a 3-run homer by, of all people, Dan Uggla, who is the highest paid Atlanta Brave, hitting the 3-run homer to beat the Braves. 2-1 to Plawecki, and he had gotten booed mercilessly the first game of that series by the Atlanta fans, who were unhappy with the results after they gave Uggla all that money. He has a job right now because Anthony Rendon is still on the DL. And And Rendon has suffered a setback. He had the knee problem, which knocked him out of action, and now he's got a problem with his side, so he hasn't played on rehab the last couple of days. So it looks like he's going to be a while before he's ready to come back.
It's like one of those things that it hurts one area in your lower half of your legs, and it just kind of creeps to other areas.
Man, he's such an important piece for them.
I think he's their best average hitter.
I mean, they've gotten Span and Worth back, and Span had a huge night last night, got 5 hits, but Worth is hitting under 150 since he got back. Milwaukee with a slow ground ball, tough play, and Prada won't be able to make it. Murphy stops at third. So it's an infield hit for Plawecki, and that'll get Colon to the plate. First and third, 2 out.
No, you should be out of the inning. Get a bleeder like this, nothing you can do. Everybody playing deep on the infield because we mentioned the first 2 games here. This is one of the shortest cut grass, tightest grass in baseball. 3/4 of an inch thick, I guess if you want to call that. Probably a wrong term, but it's not thick. High would be a better word. It is like a putting green here.
Well, Colon already has 2 RBIs this season. Looking to pick up a run from third. Took a call third strike his first time up tonight. And he pops one up. Coming back Real Muto for a look, but that's on the dugout roof. Murphy led off the inning with a base hit. He's at third. Plawecki snapping an 0 for 9 with that infield hit. He's at first. A slog for Matt Latos. Already up to 66 pitches. Working in the 4th inning.
Well, the Blues are coming from the let's go Met chants.
There have been plenty of Met fans in the stands this entire series. And the curveball misses to Colon, 1-1. Just looks like he's ready to pounce, doesn't it?
Well, he's serious. He can help his cause.
You know what I'd love to see? I'd like to see him lay down a bunt.
Well, not tonight. Not in this situation. He could now.
And then with third baseman playing back.
Look at Prado's back.
Lay down a bunt, see if he can beat it out. See, that would provide great entertainment value.
It would.
Latos ahead 1-2. And it's just off the plate. 2-2. And Latos making his 5th start for the Marlins. Still looking for his first win down in this game. Trying to get out of trouble. And Colon keeps the at-bat alive, fouling off the 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Again, the 2-2. And the curveball in for a call third strike. And that'll end the inning. So the Mets strand a pair in the 4th. 3rd strikeout for Latos. Well, we're celebrating 10 years of Mets baseball on SNY. After the break, we'll go back and relive another one of the thrilling moments from the past. But on June 4th, 2006, brought to you by Pepsi.
Benitez ready. Alfonso leans away. The 1-2, and Millage gives it a ride. Back goes Ellison at the wall. We are all tied up. Lastings Millage, his first major league home run. He didn't take a curtain call, but he's making up for it now. Hi, I'm Lanston. Nice to know you. Lanston's Village.
Earlier today, fans were asked to tweet their memories to @SNYTV using hashtag SNY10years. Today's tweet comes from R.K. Beckham in the upper deck with his father. He loved the high fives. Well, his teammates didn't love the high fives so much.
That was stunning, a little interesting when he did that. I remember it well. I was up in the booth.
I remember that day well. That's the day I got carted off to the hospital because my appendix went down. Yeah, that's why Howie was doing the game that day. So that, and then you had that 9-1 road trip right after that.
So you remember more of that than I do.
That was the LA Soler road trip in Arizona when he pitched the 2-hit shutout.
And you were, how long were you out?
I was out 10 days. About
the players didn't want you to come back.
Well, I know they're
9-1.
There are a lot of people who thought that way. Well, Matt Latos has been tiptoeing around trouble this first 4 innings. Bartolo Colon just had his first 1-2-3 inning in the third. And see if he can get himself settled in. Michael Morse leads off the home fourth and pops one up down the right field line. Granderson over. And he's there to get it. 1 pitch and 1 out for Colon in the home fourth. 6 in a row retired by Colon. Lastings Village was an interesting case because, you know, his first-round draft pick came up with a lot of confidence, a lot of bravado, and that was a veteran team in 2006 that did not take kindly to the way Millich presented himself.
It was much reminiscent of when Jeffries came to the club in the 80s.
You know the difference? Jeffries was a better player.
Yes.
And, you know, Millich eventually found his way out of the major leagues. Went to Washington and
Japan. Did he go to Japan?
I think he did at one point. I don't know if he's still there. Real Muto takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Real Muto grounded out to short his first time up. So Colon, after what looked like a shaky start to his night, is now retired 6 in a row, pitching with the lead. Trying to go to 5-0 through his first 5 starts. There are 4 Met pitchers who have won at least their first 5 starts of the year. Doc Gooden won his first 6 in '88. Frank Viola won his first 7 in 1990. He won 20 that year. Armando Reynoso, whose season began late in 1998, won his first 5. And Pedro Martinez in '06, the last to win his first 5. And Colon picks up his first strikeout of the night as he fans Real Muto 2 out.
Oh.
There it is. The horses are on the track.
And they're off.
2 out and nobody on now. Ichiro, who grounded out to third base his first time up. And Colon pours one over for a strike. So whatever was ailing Colon early in this game in terms of his location, he has righted himself.
You got to find the veterans. You got to get them early and get them out.
Ball was staying high, was selling out of the strike zone. Plawecki just made him jump with his return throw. You always see Bart do something that you haven't seen before, whether it's driving in a run. That last start with the unassisted pickoff against Pierzynski and the Braves. There, showing the elevation, trying to catch the return throw. Slap to short. Flores on the charge, and it goes right underneath him for an error. Well, Ichiro Suzuki has been doing this for 20 years. He slaps him to short. He has 2 steps out of the box. He makes shortstop's rush, and he causes errors.
Well, he doesn't run like he used to. And he always has been a guy who puts the ball, like you said, Gary, puts pressure on the infielders. And this is what I say about Flores. And he's 6'1", maybe 2, and he hustles down the line. He used to fly a lot better. Flores is all long-legged. He has a hard time getting down.
So the tying run at first with 2 out. Echeverria had to base it up the middle his first time up. And he lofts one into shallow left center. Who's going to get it? Flores makes the catch to retire the side. Murphy got out of the way. Flores makes the play. Cologne works around the error. That sends us off to the 5th. Top of the order coming up with the Mets up 3-2. Players, past and present, deal with the constant pressure of playing in the New York spotlight on Mets Insider, presented by WB Mason, Sunday at 4:30, only on SNY. Spotlight never bothers this guy. I don't think anything bothers him.
Got off to a bad start in that first inning, and since then he has up with his pitches. Each inning's gotten better.
Third time around the batting order from Matt Latos. Curtis Granderson has hit 2 bullets tonight, a line out to short and a double down the right field line. He came in to score the go-ahead run in the 3rd. Granderson, Lagares, and Duda in the 5th. So, read that promo a moment ago from Mets Insider about players handling the New York spotlight. Just how hard is that? And you came from a smaller market in St. Louis to play in New York. Did it make a difference in your life in terms of the time that you had to take, the pressure it put on you? Did it make a difference?
Well, it really didn't matter about the time, because at Shea Stadium when we started winning, in '84, remember it was hard to get out of that ballpark. You had a full house or 30,000 people. We would have to wait in that clubhouse for an hour, hour and a half sometimes before we'd even go to our cars and attempt to go home. So I never minded it. It would have been difficult, Gary, if I was 20 years old, called up, highly touted like Darrell and Doc. That would have been difficult. I was fortunate enough where I was a veteran. I'd already had my good years. So I was ready for it, more able to deal with it. I actually enjoyed it.
Granderson drives one deep toward the right field corner. Stanton back, and he makes a beautiful catch.
Stanton can really play right field.
No one ever talks about his defense because he's such a power hitter. But this man plays a wonderful right field. For a big guy, he's got a strong arm. He can go get him.
Well, Jason Hayward may be the cream of the crop as far as defensive right fielders in the National League, but Stanton's pretty close.
He's got a much bigger outfield to patrol here, too.
There's Lagares. Juan has struck out and had a productive ground out in the 3rd that led to the go-ahead run. What about from the standpoint of all the papers in New York and all the opinions and all of that, does that make the experience of the athlete different than it is in a smaller market? That there are that many more voices and opinions and criticism and all that?
I'll wait for the pitch here.
Harris pops one up, and Ozuna settles right under it.
When you're young, Gary, you tend to be more sensitive to criticism. And that, to me, is a natural thing. When you get older and you are confident in your abilities, you know you're going to go through ups and downs of a season. If you got a particular writer, and there were a few in my career in New York, very few, like maybe one or two, that had it in for you a little bit and would stick it in the knife in a little deeper, and you let it roll off. But for a young kid, it's a lot more difficult when you're doubting your abilities and you get off to a bad start, or you're going through a prolonged slump and you're getting hammered, or just criticized would be a better word, not hammered. But it makes you tougher, Gary. I mean, like you said, when you can play in New York, you can play anywhere. That is absolutely truth.
I wonder, though, whether it's more evened up than it used to be with the advent of Twitter and the 24-hour sports news cycle, that really everywhere has become more pressurized.
Well, I tell you what, players that tweet, they're out of their mind. I would not get involved in that nonsense, nor would I pay attention to it. I think tweeting is brutal. I just don't like it. Look what happened. For example, Josh Tolley. Remember, they put him on the tweetster, and he went into the big slump and couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and he had to get off.
3-0 to Duda, and there's ball 4. So Duda's on for the second time tonight. Second walk for Latos. Fifth inning recap brought to you by JetBlue. An exchange of 2-run homers. Kadire and Stanton. Mets added a run in the third. Colon seems to have hit his stride after the early bumps. And the Mets with a 3-2 lead as they battle the fifth.
I don't know who's promoting these players to go on Twitter. If they're doing it to create a following,
yeah,
for merchandising,
to enhance their brand is the way they put it.
People you got to get their notice of is that if you want that.
Just foul. Wow. Kadire broke his bat, almost got a double out of it.
To me, is if you want to make extra money and do commercials, and you have to get the attention of the corporations.
Yeah, to me, it's not so much about the players tweeting. It's kind of what you said in conjunction with that. You have to ignore the noise, and whether that's a columnist who's trying to get your goat, or whether it's a whole bunch of people on Twitter expressing their opinion, I think ignoring the noise is the most important thing that an athlete can do.
An athlete has to stay focused. To me, and I don't want to offend anybody here, but this is just the blunt truth. I haven't got time for that. I wouldn't expose myself to that. I got to focus on playing every day.
Kadire hits another one well. This one to left center field. Back goes Ozuna deep in the gap, and he gets it right before the fence. Oh, Kadire hit the tar out of another one, but this is such a big ballpark, and Ozuna with just enough room to run it down. That's with a couple of shots in that inning against Latos, but they come up empty halfway through. Still 3-2 New York. Home fifth inning, Matt Latos leads off against Bartolo Colon. Latos sacrificed his first time up. Colon working with a 3-2 lead. He's had just one base runner through his last 9 batters, and that was an error. So after giving up 3 hits to the first 4 batters tonight, Colon has settled in nicely. Latos, a lifetime 121 hitter, but he does have 3 home runs in his career. He's a big guy.
Takes a decent swing at the plate. He's a threat.
He used to play in Cincinnati, where home runs are a lot more plentiful than there are in this ballpark. How about the distance on that last shot by Kadire that got caught?
That would have been out in any ballpark in the league.
You said the same about that double that Lagares hit last night, hit 410 feet to center field. So it makes you respect Stanton and his accomplishments in this ballpark all that much more.
Can you imagine him in Philadelphia or Cincinnati, as you mentioned? Gosh, he did 50, Gary.
He might do that anyway one of these days. 1-2 off the plate. Latos lines one to right center, and that's down for a base hit. Lagares over quickly, knocks it down with the bare hand, and holds Latos to a single. So the Marlins have their 5th hit, and Latos his 2nd hit of the year.
Nice swing on a fastball away, but he got it up.
Lagares almost overran that ball, and had to swat it down with his meat hand. Latos looks like he might be shaken up, and the trainer's going to come out to have a look. Don't know exactly what happened to him. Perry Hill, the first base coach, talking to him. He's grabbing at his left leg.
I thought I heard him say sorry. Something popped. Let's see. Oh, yeah, right away up.
Right out of the box.
Right out of the get-goes, right.
Looks like his left leg. He's grabbing at that left hamstring. Looks like he's out.
They got to get him out.
Yeah, there's no way he's staying in. So a blow to the Marlins, who are already without their top 2 starters. Jose Fernandez coming back from Tommy John surgery. Henderson Alvarez on the shelf with shoulder inflammation. And now Latos has to come out of this game after legging out a base hit.
Wow. 3 of your starters on the shelf.
Yeah, he's limping noticeably as he heads off.
Ice.
So Latos is out. Donovan Solano will run for him at first base, carrying the tying run with nobody out. And Latos, as you can see, very frustrated. It's been such a difficult start to his first season in Miami, and now injury. Here's D. Gordon. Campbell creeping in at third base looking for the bunt, but the way Gordon's been swinging the bat, I don't think there's any guarantee he's bunting here.
I wouldn't want him bunting. He's a tough guy to double up to.
He's had an infield hit tonight and lined out to center. And he is not bunting as Colon misses up and away. Sam Dyson up in the Miami bullpen with Latos leaving because of injury. So Latos went 5 innings, allowed 3 runs and 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts, and done for the night. Hit hard, a base hit for Gordon. Solano to second, he'll pull in there. So back-to-back base hits for the Marlins to start the 5th inning.
Ripped. He's just raging hot, Gary. 2 for 3, now over 400 for the month of April.
Well, he had a 5-hit game against the Mets in New York. He's 6 for 11 in this series.
I gotta believe they're going to bunt here with Prado. And let's see how the Mets play it. If they wish to play a wheel or a straight bunt, I think they're going to go the straight bunt. Duda's not sure where he's positioned.
Boy,
you really can't take it for granted that he's going to bunt. It's the guy that handles the bat.
I'd be reluctant to bunt with Stanton on deck. You know?
Oh, well, what the heck? You got Ozuna behind him. I would bunt him over. Stay away from 2. Give him 1 swing, maybe.
Prado is 0 for 2 tonight. And he is bunting on the first pitch, but takes a strike.
I just don't think this is a high-powered offense. I think they got to scratch for runs. Ozuna's off to a tough start. He's swinging the bat better, but he's only driven in 4 runs. You got Rialto, who's young, trying to find himself. I think you got to get back in this ball game, Garrett. Tie this game up.
Prado set to swing. The way I look at it is you want Stanton to have every chance to swing the bat.
Yes.
And if you bunt here, you give the Mets at least the option of not letting him swing the bat. I don't know. It's an interesting discussion.
I just want to stay out of a double play.
Right. No, I understand that. So he was bunting the first pitch, not the second one. Campbell moves back at third. And Colon misses away. Now it's 2-1.
You can put a hit and run on here. It's a hit and run count. It's a very risky first and second. Very rarely do you see it.
Prado can put his bat on the ball against just about anybody.
Yes, he can. And it's a pitch now where Colon's got to come in. You can't load the bases with the big guy in the on-deck circle.
So a big pitch to make here for Colon. Solano at second, Gordon at first, nobody out. And
Prado grounds with a third, might be 2. Campbell to Murphy, makes the turn, double play.
Well,
5-4-3, 2 out and a runner at third.
I can't second guess Mike Redmond for letting Prado swing the bat. Well, Prado's hitting 280. He's a veteran. He's your number 2 hitter. But that's what you want to stay away from right there. It just takes you, just gobbles up the inning. You got the first place team didn't get there in time. Gordon, you're playing your first place team off to a raging hot start in division. I just want to tie the ball. I want to get the game tied, even though we're in the 5th inning.
So now Stanton with that tying run at third and 2 out. And Giancarlo takes a strike, 92 miles an hour from Colon. Stanton crushed a 2-run homer his first time up, lined out to short his second at bat, so he's had some quality swings against Colon tonight. That's 3 runs, 5 hits. The Marlins 2 runs, 6 hits.
Oh boy, looking for breaking ball. 2 straight fastballs away.
How would you ever look for a breaking ball from Colon? Throws his fastball 90% of the time.
It's like, are they watching the same game? They should be. They're playing.
0-2 to Stanton.
Broken bat. Murphy with a long way to go to get there. The spinorama, and he can't make the throw on target, and the game is tied. Murphy attempting to make the same play that he made in the 9th inning on Monday against Michael Morris, but this time couldn't get it there on target. And it's a tie ball game.
Broken bat off the end of the bat. Murph way up the middle. It didn't matter anyway. An 0-2 pitch. He would have beat it anyway. Stanton's going to smell this hit and RBI. Good effort by Murph.
So the Marlins get even. Stanton has driven in all 3 runs tonight for Miami. 21 for the year now. He's at first with 2 out for Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna doubled down the right field line in the first, flied out to right in the third. 7 hits now for Miami against Colon. And Ozuna goes after the slider. 0-2.
Well, I got to think that when this inning's over, if it's just one run in a tie ball game, that Colon's going to kick himself for giving up the leadoff base hit to the pitcher.
Lato's got the hit, had to leave the game with a leg injury. Pinch runner Solano scoring the tying run on Stanton's hit. Remember, Colon in his last start said that he had a little bit of a blister which affected him when he threw his breaking ball, and then he laughed and he said, well, it doesn't matter, I don't throw any breaking balls anyway. But he certainly has not thrown many tonight, but just threw a couple to Ozuna. He struck out only one tonight. And now he has two as he takes care of Ozuna with another slider to end the inning. But the Marlins get even. 3-3 as we go to the 6th in Miami. As we go to the 6th. Tomorrow, draft day 2015. What will the Jets do with their number 6 pick? Get a complete draft breakdown, exclusive interviews, and reports from Florham Park as the future of the Jets is revealed. Jets Nation draft day 2015. Coverage begins tomorrow at 5 only on SNY. Hard throwing Sam Dyson comes on in relief for Miami.
Off to a good start. 9 games for the Marlins. Has not pitched in this series. His first appearance. He should be fresh.
Daniel Murphy leads off the 6th inning. Mets have had a pair of leads in this game. The Marlins have rallied twice. Murphy takes a strike on the outside. Murphy 1 for 2, single to right his last time up. Lato's leaving because of injury. 5 innings, 3 runs, 5 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. It'll be a no decision for him. Murphy grounds one just foul, and this week there's been a lot of hand-wringing in baseball about pitchers and whether they should bat anymore 40-some years after the DH was instituted in the American League. There was a call by some to have the National League adopted, and that was precipitated by the injury to Adam Wainwright, who hurt his Achilles coming out of the batter's box last week. Murphy flies one out to center. And Ozuna is there, 1 away. Mr. Wainwright, by the way, would beg to differ. He is very much in favor of pitchers hitting. said he could have gotten hurt anyway, and you know, said he could have been carrying his daughter up the stairs, so you're going to outlaw that. And I think that's the point. I mean, how much can you bubble wrap baseball players? You're never going to be able to prevent every player from getting injured.
Well, I'm glad Wainwright was so vociferous coming out against it, and I do not like the DH. Gary, you do not like the DH. And remember, they took away a very exciting play. The home plate blocking rules now, where did that start? Started with the injury to Buster Posey, which I felt that slide, the runner did kind of go out of his way to get him. It was a perfect storm when he caught the ball down the first base line, up the line, and turned and didn't have a time to set himself, and it was a boom boom play, and he got hurt severely. And then as a result, we have this, and now we've already seen that this year a play at home plate. It's an exciting play, no blocking, so let it alone, let the guys play.
Echeverria throws out Campbell, 2 out. I understand some of the arguments against, and in fact I was talking to Terry Collins the other day, and Terry seems like he's leaning toward being pro DH himself. What he says, and it has some validity, is that we've reached a point now in baseball where before you get to Double-A, pitchers who are identified as pitchers, as young players, never bat. So you got guys coming to the plate in the big leagues who have never had the experience of coming to the plate, and you get some pitchers from the American League playing in National League parks who might be 5-10 years into their career and have never really had the experience of batting. And he says that the possibility of injury is greater as a result of that. My argument for that is, why in the heck are we having kids DH at 10 years old?
Exactly.
I mean, why aren't players being required to play the entire game? That's the whole point of baseball, is that it's a trade-off between what you can do at the plate and what you can do in the field. That in order to carry a good hitter, he has to be able to participate defensively. That's the whole point of the game. Stanton catches the fly ball. We'll talk more about that when we come back. 1-2-3 inning for Dyson. 3-3 game as Colon goes back to the mound. Now time for our Toyota tweet of the game. What are your thoughts on whether there should be uniformity about the DH rule? Michael Morris gets one by the pitcher, but Duda with enough time to hit Colon, who manages to stay on the bag. Another athletic move by Colon, who couldn't get to the baseball but continued on to first base, and they get the out.
Well, Duda got a little bit confused, thought he was going to get there. Now watch Colon. Nice play. He's done that so many times. A big man like him, he's very agile. There's a little feed behind him.
Nice stretch. Could have been a first baseman.
He knows what he's doing.
So 1 pitch and 1 out for Colon in the home 6th, and now JT Realmuto. Realmuto's grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. I know it's a pipe dream, but I would love to see baseball get rid of the DH entirely. And I know that people say, well, the union would never go for it because of the high-priced jobs involved, guys like David Ortiz, fly ball out to Lagares. But I've said this before, let the union have 2 more roster spots on every team, go to a 27-man roster, 60 extra jobs, and make that the trade-off.
You're beginning to convince me on that here, because then you'd be able to have a stronger bench. You'd be able to have 3 catchers like the old days where you had 1 catcher that was a defensive replacement and the other one was a hitter, and or you could platoon. I'm beginning to think that. I just think it just takes away from the game, the DH. There's so much more strategy. Pitcher's got a hit. It adds to everything.
You know, I've heard proponents of the DH say, well, who would you rather see hit, a pitcher or David Ortiz? Well, that's not really the question. It's a matter of what's best for the game overall, not what's best for that particular at bat in the course of a game.
And another thing too, if you've got a butcher in the field that's a great hitter, then you pay the price. It's a double-edged sword.
It's a trade-off, of course. Colon with a quick throw, and he gets Ichiro Suzuki for the 3rd out. So a very good inning for Colon through just 5 pitches to get through that bottom of the 6th. 3-3 heading for the 7th. Seventh inning, Mets and Marlins tied 3-3. Sam Dyson starts his 2nd inning of work. Kevin Plawecki leads off for New York. Had an infield hit his last time up. And he takes a strike on the inside at 97 from Dyson. Bartolo Colon looks like he's going to continue on. He's thrown 83 pitches only through 6 innings. He's on deck to bat for himself. And then Granderson behind him. Thanks to the How Many Runs promotion, get $13 off Mets tickets for games April 30th, that's tomorrow, through May 6th against the Nationals and Orioles. Log on to Mets.com/runs to take advantage of this offer. Mets have gotten some very good starting pitching in this series. Dylan G tremendous on Monday night. Rafael Montero held them off the board for 5 last night. Colon stumbled early, but has found himself tonight.
The problem has been the Marlins starting pitching has matched it.
By the way, speaking of Montero, he has gone to New York to have his shoulder examined. Not sure how serious the Mets feel that is, but the decision was made after the start last night, and I'm sure it had been made in advance that he was going to be sent right back down, and the Mets called up Jack Leathersich to give them an extra bullpen arm. Leathersich is here and ready to go if needed tonight. But if Montero is injured, then that would negate the option, and he'd have to be placed on the disabled list instead. Same thing happened earlier this year with Cesar Cuello. Milwaukee strikes out for the first out. Your T-Mobile game changer. There is the newest Met, Jack Leathersich, the left-hander out of UMass Lowell. He's always been a huge strikeout guy, but the problem for most of his career has been the walks. However, this year his walks are down, and that's why Leathersich got the call today.
It gives the Mets a third left-hander out in the bullpen.
Along with Alex Torres and Sean Gilmartin, Colon turns one around and went into the upper deck.
Bart has an idea.
There's nobody sitting in the upper deck. That baseball is all by itself amongst empty seats. There's Bobby Parnell, who's been with the team here in Florida, coming back from Tommy John surgery. And Leathersich credits Parnell with his newfound control this year. So he had a long talk with Bobby in spring training, and that Bobby counseled him on how to concentrate better on each pitch, how to work at the higher levels to get hitters to swing at pitches that they had not been swinging at.
Isn't that funny? It's almost like it's oral lore being handed down. Parnell was not someone that was refined with his control, to say the least, but he learned basically from
Jason Isringhausen,
and then that's passed down to the next guy. The next, it's almost generational, and that's the beauty of baseball. One of the beauties of baseball, one of the many beauties.
Colon staying alive. Well, it's going to be interesting to watch Leathersich, who his strikeout ratio for his minor league career is just off the charts. Even though he doesn't throw 100 miles an hour, he's a low 90s guy. But they say he's very hard to pick up and gets lots of swings and misses as a result. Strike 3 called. Colon has struck out for the 3rd time today. Dyson has back-to-back strikeouts.
3 called third strikes.
Well, you can only swing the bat so many times.
You know, once every 5th day it's tough. Now that this time around 6.
Well, here's Granderson, who's been mashing it all day long. He lined out to short in the 1st, drilled a double and scored in the 3rd, and then hit it to the fence in the right field corner that Stanton made a nice play on in the 5th. So 3 hard hit balls by Granderson, only 1 hit to show for it. Now facing Dyson for the first time, and that one bounces away from Real Muto, 1-0.
Dyson's got a good live arm. Got a little sinker running away into the left, into the righties, away from the lefties. Got a loose arm.
Mike Dunn is on call in the Marlins bullpen. Dyson behind on Granderson, 2-0. And Curtis takes low, ball 3. Curtis has just not been helping the pitchers out. 16 walks already this year. 2nd to Bryce Harper in the National League.
I think I give him a hit sign the way he's swinging.
Why not, with 2 out and nobody on? And he does swing and grounds one right behind the bag for Morse. And that retires the side. So 6 up and 6 down for Sam Dyson in relief of the injured Matt Latos. South Beach moving at quite a clip. Stretch time tied at 3. So come on inside for the bottom of the 7th inning. Mets and Marlins tied 3-3. And Danny Echeverria leads off against Bartolo Colon and bounces one over Campbell's head. It's a fair ball going down the line. And Echeverria has himself a leadoff double. Just a bouncing ball, but it had enough elevation on it to get over Campbell.
This is like Lawrence Welk. Follow the bouncing ball. Jeez. That's that fast infield. It also means that it's a hard dirt, hard surface all the way around.
Terry Collins is out. He would like to challenge the call, but I don't believe that's a challengeable call. With the play in front of the base umpire, if it's behind the base umpire on a fair or foul call, you can challenge, but it was in front of the third base umpire, Ron Culpa, so not a challengeable call.
And Culpa had the perfect view. He was right there on it.
So Echeverria is on second. Now Reed Brignac will pinch hit. Brignac batting for the pitcher Dyson, who did a terrific job in relief. 6 up and 6 down after Latos got hurt. Latos, by the way, we just heard, left with a strained left hamstring, which is pretty much the way it looked.
I gotta believe he's putting a bunt on here too. Late in the game.
That's looking for the bunt, and Colon looking back at Echeverria. Hansel Robles, who made his major league debut at Yankee Stadium over the weekend, up in the bullpen for New York. Echeverria, the go-ahead run at second, and nobody out. Brignac at the plate. Gordon, the red hot hitter, and on deck. And Brignac, for some reason, took that pitch.
Right down the pipe.
I don't know what else he was looking for.
See the defense right there. Looks like they're. Well, they could put the wheel on. I just don't think they are. I think they'll play it straight. Pick off. No chance.
Tough to play the wheel, I think, with a position player at the plate. Right?
And it's tough to play the wheel with a speedster like at second base, like Echeverria.
That's 3 runs, 5 hits. The Marlins 3 runs and 8 hits. And Brignac moving his hand up the bat. Gets the bunt down. And Colon thought about it, but gets the out at first. He bunted it straight, but didn't do enough. And gets Echeverria over to third. 1-4 on the sacrifice.
Let's see if he had a chance at third here. Similar bunt as Tejada last night. You know what? Look where his body is, where his position of his body. Now he has to do a complete circle around, but it's taken too much time.
So now the Mets will have to bring the infield in. 3-3 game in the bottom of the 7th. Echeverria at third and 1 out, and Gordon is already 2 for 3 tonight at the plate. D. Gordon 6 for 11 in this series. And he slugs one in the air to right center. That'll get the run home. Echeverria tagging at third. Lagares makes the catch, and the Marlins get their first lead of the night. A sacrifice fly for D. Gordon brings in the lead run. 4-3 Miami.
Boy, D. Gordon is just really doing everything at the bat.
That's his 11th run batted in to go with all his other exploits.
Bird didn't waste any time, did he? Good pitch to lift. Plenty deep. Walk home.
So the bouncing ball double, a sacrifice and a sacrifice fly, bringing a run. Now Martin Prado with 2 out and nobody on. Well, the Mets executed similarly back in the 3rd inning. A leadoff double by Granderson, a couple of ground balls to bring them home. And now the Marlins do the same to go in front for the first time. And Colon gets ahead 0-2. Well, the Mets and Marlins have had a habit of playing these close games since 2010. No 2 teams have played more one-run games than these two. And it may feel to Met fans as though the Mets have lost most of them, but they haven't. They're actually 23 and 21 in those 44 one-run games. Prado takes one the other way for a 2-out hit. And that'll get Stanton to the plate here in the 7th inning. And it may not be against Colon because Terry Collins is on his way out to the mound. Stanton's already driven in 3 runs tonight. So Terry may be looking for another formula this time around.
I think it's the right call. Get a new arm in there for Stanton, and he's never faced him. and the guy throws 97 miles an hour.
Pitching change brought to you by Empire City. Colon out. Young Hansel Robles to face Giancarlo Stanton when we come back. But he gave up 9 hits, including the home run to Giancarlo Stanton, who faces Hansel Robles in his second big league outing.
Robles had his first major league appearance against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. Boy, bases loaded. What a performance. Went through the teeth of the Yankee order and got out of the inning.
And the fastball gets him ahead of Stanton 0-2. Here, Robles gave up the infield hit to A-Rod that loaded the bases. Then a pop-up and 2 strikeouts later, he was out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam. And now quickly ahead on Stanton 0-2 with Prado at first and 2 out. 4-3 Miami, 7th inning. And the slider down. Ball and 2 strikes. Hansel Robles, 24 years old, from the Dominican Republic. And pitching fearlessly against some of the best hitters in the game in his first 2 outings. And he strikes out Stanton to end the inning. He has been quite impressive in limited showings. But the Marlins take the lead against Cologne 4-3 as we go to the 8th.
Not win 5 straight starts to begin his season. He leaves trailing 4-3. Tomorrow night the Mets get home. They'll take on the Nationals for the first of 4. Jacob deGrom against Steven Strasburg tomorrow night. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock. And for more on the Nats, let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Well, Gary, you and Keith were speaking about the win last night by the Nationals. It was a great win, but it was actually a historic win, albeit a short history for the Nationals. But it was the first time ever that they came back from 8 runs down to win a game. It was also the first time ever that they gave up 11 or more runs and won a game. And they had just lost 6 straight coming into last night. In those 6 losses, they had scored a combined 14 runs. Last night alone, they scored 13. They've got another 9 tonight, so who knows? Maybe yesterday was the turning point for this Nationals team.
Maybe.
We'll find out. They're going to run into deGrom and Harvey the first 2 nights.
And of course, they'll have Strasburg and Scherzer going, so could be quite a show the next 2 nights.
And you always said, Garrett, when they were going terrible and early, you said they're not going away.
No. Well, their pitching's just too good. I mean, Zimmerman got hit hard again tonight early, but he's persevered through 7, and he's got a 5-run lead tonight, 9-4 in Atlanta. Lagares takes up and away, and Mike Dunn immediately falls behind 3-0. Dunn pitching for the 2nd straight night, got a couple of outs last night. Here's Matt Harvey, who will start Friday night against Scherzer. That should be quite a show. Scherzer got pushed back 3 days because of a mild thumb injury that he suffered swinging the bat. And it was as ball 4 inside, and Lagares is on with a leadoff walk, and the Mets get the tying run on for Duda.
And this is what Dunn is, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, with his control. He can go out there and have a terrific outing, and then next time walk the ballpark.
Well, Dunn retired Duda last night on a ground ball, but Lucas has had a lot of success against this left-hander. A.J. Ramos, who gave up a big hit last night, up next in that Miami bullpen. Duda 6 for 17 against Mike Dunn. Lucas tonight 1 for 2 and a walk. Michael Kadire waits on deck. Lagares at first and nobody out. Dunn runs the fastball inside, 1-1.
95 miles an hour. He's a hard thrower. Infield on the defense, not so much pull. Echeverria just on the left side of second base.
Where Echeverria is right where Duda's hit went back in the first inning.
He's got to stay close to that bag for turn 2 if they get a ground ball.
Lagares has only 1 stolen base this year. Showed late last season that he can steal bases if called upon. Hard to do that, though, with Duda at the plate and a lefty on the mound.
Oh!
And Lucas takes inside. That ball almost hit him.
I thought it hit him. And here's Dunn overthrown. This is what he can do. How did this not hit him? It didn't. Just got out of the way. Two bad pitches inside. Garrett needs to throw a strike. He's looking away right here.
2-1 coming. That's up and away. Ball 3. So after walking Lagares, Dunn falls behind Duda, 3-1. And Ramos will throw a little harder in that Miami bullpen. Duda's driven in a run tonight. Has a single and a walk. And he pops one foul. 3-2.
Ball 4 right there. Dunn's all over the place.
3-2 with nobody out. And Duda fouls that one away.
Tough pitch, stays in the at bat. He gets one out over the plate. Lucas could put a charge into it. Lucas keeps that front shoulder in, Gary. Very good against the lefties.
You got Kadire on deck, who's swung the bat as well tonight as he has in a couple of weeks. So this might be Dunn's last batter, with Ramos getting ready. Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Duda. And he flies one down the left field line. Long run for Ichiro. Into foul ground, and he runs out of room. Nice slide by Ichiro to protect himself. And Duda gets another life.
Just ran out of room. I tell you, if it had stayed in play, he was going to make the play.
10-time Gold Glove winner, making the adjustment to left field after spending most of his career in right field. Did win a Gold Glove in center field as well for the Mariners. Big battle here between Dunn and Duda. Lagares at first and nobody out. Mets down a run in the 8th. 3-2. Morse to Echeverria. Back to first. Double play. 3-6-3.
Well, tailor-made. What Morse does well is get rid of it quick. And a good feed. Not a great feed. Echeverria with the arm. Duda doesn't run it that well. Takes the Mets out of an inning right there.
So just like that, 2 out and nobody on. And now Michael Kadire, who provided the keynote tonight with a 2-run homer in the opening inning. He's hit 2 deep fly balls since, including one back to the scoreboard in left center that Ozuna caught against the fence. Talk about having the air sucked out of an inning.
Double play, pitcher's best friend. Boy, he had him behind the count. He walked the first batter, leadoff batter, falls behind Duda, and then gets a double play.
The slider in for a strike to Kadire, 1-1. Michaels had just one career at bat against Dunn, and he had a base hit against him. Mets have been held to just 5 hits tonight. Their last hit came in the 4th inning. Kadire goes after the off-speed pitch, 1-2.
Chasing the bad slide ball right here out front.
Dunn ahead 1-2. And Kadire shoots one foul. Michael came into this game in a 2-for-28 skid before that first inning home run. At the night off last night, has swung the bat much better tonight. One-two coming. And he rolls one down to Morse, but slow off the mound is Dunn. Close play, and Kadire is out. Dunn was very slow coming off the mound. Terry Collins is coming to the top step. He may challenge this call as Kadire and Dunn came together.
Oh, did he get laid out of the box? Oh,
I think we might get a challenge here. Dunn brain froze for a moment, and that's at least a tie, it would appear.
I think he beat it.
Yep,
he did. That's a base hit.
So Terry is going to challenge, and we'll see if the folks in the bunker in New York see what we just saw, which was Kadire's foot getting there a shade before that of Dunn. And that's all on Dunn. He froze on the mound rather than get off quickly, and he might have also gotten spiked on that play. The trainer's coming out to have a look. Marlins have already lost one pitcher tonight because of injury, when Latos strained his hamstring running out a base hit. And now Dunn might have gotten spiked on that play. Play under review brought to you by Mazda.
He brought that all on himself as a veteran. He knows better than that. He's got to cover. Anything to the right side, the pitcher's got to cover. He squeezed the bat, towed it right there.
Yep.
He's safe.
It would appear that way. Still waiting for the umpires in the review center in New York to concur. If the play is reversed, then the Mets will have Daniel Murphy at the plate with a tying run on first base. Meanwhile, Dunn is throwing in some warm-up pitches with the trainer and his manager looking on, see if he's okay.
Inning should be over. It should have been over. Good hustle by Kadire. Gets himself a base knock.
See Dunn with the dirt on his uniform from taking that tumble. Well, we'll find out now. And they overturn the call, so it is an infield hit for Kadire, and the Mets have the tying run on base.
Murph up in another late pressure situation. Murph, over the years as a Met, has been very, very good in late clutch situations.
Murph tonight 1 for 3 at a base hit back in the 4th.
Big left center field gap.
Murphy 5 for 15 in his career against Dunn, so this is a lefty he's hit well. Takes the slider off the plate for ball 1.
Left-handed bench. If Dunn loses Murph and inning goes, I got to believe that they'll bring in A.J. Ramos to face Campbell.
Murphy pokes one toward the hole. Nobody covering at second. Prato's throw just in time to get Murphy side retired. There was nobody covering second base. And so Prado had to readjust, but he got the out at first, and the Mets are turned aside. Still 4-3 Miami. All right, Michelle home 8th inning. Hansel Robles stays in to face Marcelo Zuna.
Watch Gordon, second base. Why is he running to first? Can he hustle and try to get the short force out? What's he doing over there? He's not helping anybody out there in no man's land, and we see a lot of that today.
I don't understand. What is the point?
I don't get it.
I mean,
what, I'm playing too much to pull, and I can't bust my hump to get over to second base?
I mean, I can understand if it's a ground ball right at the shortstop or third baseman, but that's one Prado had to move for. He could have easily lost the play at first, and it would have been a much easier play to throw to second if Gordon had been there. 3-0 to Ozuna, and that's outside, ball 4. So Robles, who came in to strike out Stanton to end the 7th, walks the leadoff hitter in the 8th. And the Marlins with a chance to gain some insurance. That's the first walk of the night for Med pitching. And Michael Morris, the batter. Morris 0 for 3 tonight. Bartolo Colon went 6 2/3, allowed 4 runs and 9 hits. On the hook for his first loss of the season. Alex Torres up in the Mets bullpen. He looked tremendous last night and striking out the side. Call strike to Morris, 0-1. And it's Brian Morris, not Steve Cishek, up in the Marlins bullpen. Cishek pitched each of the first 2 games of this series, so it looks like Mike Redmond is trying to stay away from him tonight.
Interesting, with 3 right-hand hitters due up for the Mets.
Well, that had to be something that they decided pregame, that they were going to try and keep Cishek on the shelf tonight.
I believe they have an off day tomorrow.
Yes, they do. Cishek got the save last night after blowing the save Monday night. But Morris looked terrific last night. And it looks like he'll get the call in the 9th. Morris fouls back the high fastball from Robles.
Well, here we are, yet again another 1-run ball game with these Marlins. This is a rubber match right here for the series. Mets would like to go home with a split in this series. And this road trip, excuse me. You see where Robles comes underneath that slider, and I think that's the pitch that, I mean, his fastball is his fastball. He's going to have to get more consistent with his slider.
He was having a terrific time of it at Vegas before he was called up. Guy who was a starting pitcher until midway through last season, and he was struggling, so Mets took him out of the rotation, stuck him in the bullpen, and he has been spectacular ever since. And now in the big leagues, as the Mets have had to patch together a bullpen that's been without Bobby Parnell, without Vic Black, without Henry Mejia, without Josh Edgen, and yet has performed very, very well. 2-2 now to Morris. Torres has been a big part of that. Had one rough outing to start his Mets career and has been very good since. And a guy, a lefty, who can get right-hand hitters out with his good changeup. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming to Morris, and he goes down swinging at the slider. So Robles has his 2nd strikeout, 1 away.
Well, there he got on top of that slider, and look at the result.
So 1 out and 1 on. Now the catcher JT Realmuto 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 11 in this series. In the 9th inning, the Mets will have Campbell, Flores, and Plawecki due up, with the pitcher due up 4th in the inning. And Robles almost hits Realmuto 1-0.
Oh, Robles is one of those guys that's a little bit wild. Got to get in there and get set and ready to hit. Because he could lose one on you and drill you.
Just barely missed touching his uniform shirt. Ozuna at first and 1 out. 4-3 Marlins, bottom of the 8th. There goes Ozuna. The throw by Plawecki on a hop. And Murph lost the ball. And Ozuna is safe. First stolen base of the year for Marcell Ozuna.
I don't think Murph even tagged him. I thought it was kind of a deaky slide here. A tricky slide. Watch. I think he missed him. He never got the ball, period. So, an optical illusion from me. Sorry.
Oh, you were right. He didn't tag.
He tried to pull the fake, the fake with the leg out on the outside and tag it with the touch the base with the hand.
The old okey doke,
whatever you want to call it.
So a runner in scoring position as the Marlins bid for insurance here in the 8th. 2-1 to Real Muto with Ichiro Suzuki on deck. Mets had a 2-0 lead in this game. They had a 3-2 lead in this game, but find themselves behind in the late innings. Soft tapper. Robles can't get it, and Campbell will have to put it in his pocket. Real Muto with an infield hit, and now that insurance run is at third with 1 out.
And Terry's going to come here with Suzuki up. Ichiro bringing the left-hander.
Robles did not react well to that ground ball. So Robles will leave. Alex Torres will come in, and we'll be right back to Miami. On the DH and what the future of it should be. 9 guys. Okay, that's our way of thinking. Let's see if there's another view. It's already ruined the game. NLDH would be the last straw. Well, more affirmation. Do we have an opposing opinion? Every pitcher should bat. Forget the DH. I think we've got some unanimity amongst our tweeters.
Well,
Alex Torres in for the second straight night.
Came a very impressive inning of work last night, protecting a tie ball game in the 8th.
Struck out the side last night in the 7th. The infield halfway with first and third and 1 out. You got Ichiro at the plate, a tough man to double up. Ozuna at third, Real Muto at first. Ichiro 0 for 3 tonight, 0 for 10 in this series. But it wouldn't take a hit to get that insurance run home. Anything possible with Ichiro. He could bunt, could just try and slap one and run. And he takes a strike. Well, there's the newest Met, Jack Leathersich on your right, the left-hander. Eric Goodell, the right-hander. As you can see, Leathersich is not a big guy, despite all the strikeouts on his resume. Torres in a tight spot here in the 8th, coming in behind Robles, who gave up a walk and an infield hit. Ball on the strike to Ichiro. And Danny Echeverria, who doubled and scored the go-ahead run in the 7th inning, is now on deck. Ichiro slaps one foul, and now it's 1-2.
Tell you what I've seen from Torres here, and a lot's being asked from him. He's being asked to become the #1 lefty late in the game, the guy to go to with Blevins down. And Torres, he's got a very sneaky fastball.
He could use a strikeout here against a tough man to fan. One-two coming to Ichiro, and he manages to foul off that fastball. 2,858 major league hits, 4,136 if you count his years in the Japanese major leagues. Just a phenomenal hitter. Ozuna at third, Realmuto at first with one out. One-two from Torres, and he fouls it off his leg. Torres hurrying in just in case. They called that a fair ball, but he came up and bit Ichiro while he was still in the batter's box. Echeverria, the #8 hitter, on deck. Ichiro getting to play a lot more than he bargained for with the injury to Christian Yelich. Already making his 13th start tonight. Again the 1-2. And he fights off that one. Ichiro came to the major leagues in 2001. And his first year with the Mariners, he was the Rookie of the Year, and he was the American League MVP. And he was off and running.
Fred Lynn.
He later set a major league record with 262 hits in 2004. Most ever in a single season. And he is keeping this at bat alive.
Well, the sacrifice fly is all that's needed, and you can see the Met outfield with 2 strikes very grossly shaded, not even shaded, shifted, you would almost say, to the opposite field.
Very shallow as well. Ichiro has only hit 1 ball out of the infield in this series. It is 0 for 10. Now the infield comes all the way in. 1-2.
Hit in the air to deep right field, headed back toward the corner. That ball is out of here. Ichiro Suzuki with his first home run as a Miami Marlin, and he breaks this game open at the bottom of the 8th. A 3-run homer for Ichiro, and it's 7-3 Miami.
What a tremendous turn at bat for a great hitter.
Tremendous quickness in. This ball comes, it's inside, and he turns. With 2 strikes, trying to go the other way. It's the right call, the right pitch. You just tip your hat to a great hitter.
His 113th career major league home run. And it gives the Marlins a 4-run lead in the bottom of the 8th. Mets make a pitching change. We'll be right back. And showing off some pop. A 3-run homer to give the Marlins a 7-3 lead. Now Eric Adell in to face Denny Echeverria.
Well, they gave him the Ichiro chant, and he came out and tipped his hat. First home run as a Marlin, and a big one.
First hit in this series, and it was tremendous. Now Goodell, who has been very impressive in his 5 outings since his recall, facing Echeverria, who's 2 for 3 tonight, a single and a double. He scored a run. So Alex Torres battling Ichiro Suzuki and losing that battle. Goodell last pitched Sunday night at Yankee Stadium, 2 scoreless innings. Gave up a double to Chase Headley, then retired 6 in a row with 3 strikeouts. Justin Bour is out on deck to be a pinch hitter. Flores in front of the ground ball and throws out Echeverria. That's the second out of the inning. So 2-away now Justin Bour, who had a pinch hit on Monday night against Dylan G to get the Marlins rally started. And to make another pitching change with the left-hand batter announced. It looks like Jack Leathersich is going to make his major league debut. So Leathersich is on his way in. That's down 7-3 in the 8th. We'll be right back. Major league debut.
Strikeout guy. 334 strikeouts and 866 plate appearances against him, and that's over a stretch of 204 innings pitched.
And he quickly gets ahead on Justin Bour, 0-2. Over the course of Leathersich's minor league career, he averaged 15.3 strikeouts per 9 innings. Problem has been walks, but the walks have been down this year pitching for Las Vegas. Ball and 2 strikes to Bour. AJ Ramos and Brian Morris up in the bullpen.
Didn't have a decision in AAA. 7 innings pitched. Only 2 walks.
Fly ball down the left field side, and that'll go out of play. Well, Leathersich was a 5th-round pick by the Mets in 2011 out of UMass Lowell. There have only been a handful of players from UMass Lowell make it to the major leagues. One in particular you'll remember, Mike LaValliere. Spanky for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Fine catcher.
Moore cracks one to right field. Granderson gets turned around and it's over his head and off the wall. Moore heads for second. And he slides in safely. Now he's off the bag and he gets tagged out. Flores stayed with him and tags out Moore for the final out of the inning.
So he's in safe.
He lifted that left foot off the bag. The second base umpire, Larry Vanover, called it. It scored as a single, and Flores stayed with him and got the out. On SNY is brought to you by Lexus, the first ever Lexus NX Turbo Go Beyond utility. By Pepsi, the official soft drink of Major League Baseball. And by New York Lottery. Play cash for life from the New York Lottery with a top prize of $1,000 every day for life. During tonight's game, you can get interactive with SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, featuring pitch-by-pitch coverage, player cards, and in-depth stats. Check out SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Brian Morris on to try and get the final 3 outs from Miami. Eric Campbell leads off in the 9th inning.
Well, the Ichiro 3-run home run, they were not going to use Cishek, so that took the Marlins off the hook. Non-save situation for Morris.
He quickly falls behind on Campbell 2-0. Morris pitched last night, gave up a leadoff double to Daniel Murphy, but then was able to wiggle his way out of the jam. Remember the poor bunt by Ruben Tejada that helped out his cause. And the Marlins were able to hang on and win that game. And now he's quickly behind on Campbell 3-0. Flores and Plawecki to follow for the Mets. So the Mets, after their perfect homestand and their 11-game winning streak, now in danger of losing 4 out of 6 on this road trip. I don't know, does the Bronx count as a road trip?
Yes, unfortunately it does.
Subway road trips are still road trips.
Yeah, it's opposing team's ballpark.
There's a strike 3-1. The good news is the Mets have not lost a home game this year. Will be home tomorrow night
against a resurgent national squad.
Nats won tonight in Atlanta 13-4. So they scored 13 runs each of the last 2 nights. There's ball 4 to Campbell, and the Mets get the leadoff man on in the 9th. Mets box score presented by ESPN Radio. Michael Kadire, the 2-run homer in the first inning, the biggest hit for the Mets tonight. They've had just 6 hits.
Boy, you got a 4-run lead in the 9th and you walk a leadoff hitter. It just drive a manager crazy.
So here's Flores, who's 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 8 in the series. Campbell at first and nobody out. Mets need base runners here in the 9th, down by 4. And Morris may be providing some. Real Muto and pitching coach Hernandez will both go out for a conversation as Brad Hand gets up in the Miami bullpen.
Jeez.
So Chuck Hernandez a little startled by Morris walking the leadoff hitter and missing badly on his first pitch to Flores.
I mean, come on, slugger. We got a 4-run lead here. Throw strikes.
Coming up tonight after the postgame show, it's Geico Sports Night. Chris Carlin getting ready for the NFL draft. Oh, don't invoke Vernon Golston. Come on, Chris, have a heart. He goes with the goulash with Vernon Golston. Wow. Morris, after the visit from the pitching coach, fires a strike, 1-1. Kevin Plawecki, the on-deck batter. Behind him, the pitcher's spot. Mets have Kirk Neuenhuis, the lone lefty, on the bench with a bat in his hand. Double play ball. Echeverria with the quick toss, and Gordon with the turn. 2 out and nobody on. Those guys have been flashy tonight.
Is that a beautiful middle infield or what? The whole series. They can pick it. They are wonderful. The best I've seen so far this year. So, what an acquisition to get Echeverria from Toronto, to get Gordon from the Dodgers. What a middle infield.
So the Mets are down to their final out. Here's Plawecki, 1 for 3, an infield hit back in the 4th. That's got off to a fast start tonight on Kadire's 2-run homer against Matt Latos in the 1st, but they've had very little offense since. Plawecki lines one to center. On comes Ozuna. He short hops it. It's a base hit for Plawecki. And the Mets stay alive. Second hit of the night for Kevin Plawecki.
Nice hitting. Plawecki's been struggling a little bit the last couple days. Rips that one to the opposite field.
Now Kirk Neuenhuis will try and keep it going. Neuenhuis got a start in left field last night, went 1 for 4. Batting for the pitcher with Granderson on deck. So Morris is going up a walk and a base hit here in the 9th, but the double play really helping him out. And Neuenhuis tries to lay off, and he did. Ball 1. Well, it's a good news, bad news night for the Marlins. They lead 7-3 in the 9th, but they might have lost another starting pitcher for a while. Matt Latos went the first 5, suffered a hamstring strain running out a base hit. For a team that's already missing their top 2 starters. Ball on a strike to Neuenhuis.
Slider chasing down and in.
The Marlins, who began the year 3-11, have a chance to get their 7th win in their last 8 games.
Didn't pick up a game on the Mets, but close to 5.
And now the Mets are down to their final strike.
They could have very easily swept this series here.
If not for Murphy's heroics.
You got that right.
One and 2 to Neuenhuis. Skips out of the way. 2-2. Sam Dyson, 2 perfect innings in relief for Miami. Mike Dunn worked around a walk and a base hit in the 8th. And now Morris trying to finish the Mets off. Mets were up 2-0 and 3-2 in this game, but the Marlins tied it in the 5th, took the lead in the 7th, and then Ichiro with the big 3-run bomb in the bottom of the 8th. 2-2 coming. And again, doing nice skips, 3-2. One at bat by that guy. Three-2 for Morris. And Neuenhuis down on strikes, and that'll do it. The Marlins take the rubber game of the series as they come from behind to beat the Mets 7-3 and leave the Mets with a 2-4 road trip as they head home.
Well, I tell you what, a tough loss last night, a big win down in the first game. Tough loss last night. You know, give the Marlins some credit here. They showed some resiliency. Colon just couldn't get that 5th win. Got off to a little bit of a sluggish start. Another seesaw game, but Ichiro with the big 3-run home run, I thought, on a terrific pitch. You got to tip your hat to the great hitter.
Bartolo Colon suffers his first loss of the season after winning his first 4 starts. Giancarlo Stanton tied the game after Kadire homered in the 1st. Ichiro put it away with a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 8th, and the Marlins win it 7-3. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. By Hospital for